There are things we do not talk about once we retire, not because they are not important, but because we are not sure how to say them out loud. Or maybe we think we are the only ones feeling this way. I used to believe that too. I thought retirement would feel like freedom, like finally catching my breath after decades of working, raising kids, paying bills, doing everything right. And in some ways, it is. But there is also a quieter side no one warned me about. A part no one posts about on social media or brings up at family dinners. The parts that feel lonely, uncertain, even a little lost. Today, I want to open that door. I am not here to give advice or pretend to have all the answers. I am just going to share what I have lived through. Real feelings, real thoughts, the kind you whisper to yourself in the middle of the night. I have learned that the most powerful truths in retirement are the ones we carry quietly, hoping someone else understands. So, if you have ever felt like that, if you have ever thought, "Is it just me?" then this time together might be for you. Because the truth is, you are not alone, and you were never meant to walk this road in silence. One, even with people around, it still feels empty sometimes. I never imagined that loneliness could visit me in a room full of people, that I could be sitting at the dinner table with my children, listening to my granddaughter laugh in the next room, and still feel like I was watching life from the outside in. Retirement brought that on in a way I did not expect. When I stopped working, it was like the world got quiet, not just outside, but inside. For years, I had a routine, a reason to get up early. Shave, get dressed, move with purpose. People needed me, called on me, asked for advice. I mattered. Then one day the phone stopped ringing as much, the emails slowed, and mornings got longer. Not restful, just longer. I thought I would enjoy the peace, and I did for a little while. But peace and isolation are separated by a thin line. What no one tells you is that retirement often means losing the noise you never knew kept you company. I still had my wife back then. We had each other, and that made it easier. But even she noticed I got quiet. Not moody, just distant. I would sit outside on the porch and watch the wind move through the trees, wondering what my purpose was now. Friends? Some had moved away. Others were busy with their own families. A few had passed. The ones I thought I would reconnect with after retirement seemed harder to reach, as if we were all dealing with the same thing, but no one wanted to say it out loud. Loneliness at this age does not always look like sadness. Sometimes it just looks like silence, like staying up late for no reason, flipping through channels you are not really watching, or making a cup of coffee in the afternoon, not because you need the caffeine, but because it fills 5 minutes of a long day. It is not something you talk about, because how do you explain it? You have family. You have a home. You are not alone, but you still feel it. If you feel this too, you are not broken. You are human. We were not built to live without connection, without being seen, without hearing our name called, because someone genuinely needs us. Retirement can feel like a slow fading of your name in the world around you, but you are still here, and that matters more than you know. 2. Money is not the biggest worry. What it really buys is dignity. When I was younger, money was simple. You worked, you saved, you paid the bills, and if you were lucky, you had a little left over for the fun stuff. Retirement planning sounded like a math problem. Add up your savings, divide by how long you expect to live, factor in inflation, and you are good to go. That is what they told us. What they did not tell us is that retirement is not just about money. It is about what money represents: freedom, safety, pride, the ability to say yes to your kids without feeling guilty. I thought I had planned well. We had no debt, the house was paid off, and our savings looked solid on paper. But there is a kind of anxiety that creeps in late at night, especially when unexpected bills show up. A medical expense, a home repair. Suddenly, I found myself doing math in my head every time I opened the mailbox. Not because I could not afford things, but because I was afraid of running out someday. No one wants to feel like a burden, and that is the real fear behind the money. I did not want to ask my kids for help. I wanted to be the one giving, not receiving. I wanted to be the grandparent who treats the family to dinner, who slips the grandkids a $20 bill for no reason, who helps with tuition if needed. But I also knew how fast things could change. One illness, one fall, one financial dip. We do not talk about this part, especially men. We are supposed to be the providers, the steady hand. But when you retire, that role shifts, and it is not always comfortable. Pride gets tangled up with practicality. You start second-guessing every purchase. You think twice before planning a trip. You say no to things, not because you cannot afford them, but because you do not want to risk losing your independence. I want to say this clearly. Your worth is not in your wallet. Your dignity is not tied to how much you can still give financially. But I also understand the pressure. I have felt it, still feel it sometimes. If you are in that space, please know you are not alone. There is nothing weak about being careful, and there is nothing wrong with acknowledging that money is about more than dollars. It is about feeling secure, feeling respected, and feeling like you still have control over your life. 3. The things I wish I had done sooner. There is a kind of regret that does not come from doing something wrong. It comes from not doing something at all. And those are the ones that visit you the most as you get older. The missed chances. The conversations you should have had. The places you meant to see. The dreams you quietly put aside for another day that never came. I have lived a good life. A full one. But there are things I wish I had done while I still had the energy, the time, the chance. I wish I had taken that road trip with my brother before he got too sick to travel. We talked about it for years, just the two of us driving through the mountains, fishing in silence, sharing old stories. But life kept getting in the way. Work, kids, bills, and then it was too late. I wish I had told certain people how much they meant to me while they were still here to hear it, not in a text, not in a holiday card, in person, looking them in the eye. I wish I had said sorry more often. Pride stole too many chances for peace, and I wish I had taken more risks. I always wanted to learn how to play the piano, to speak another language, to start a small garden. I kept telling myself, someday. But someday is sneaky. It does not tap you on the shoulder when it is about to run out. Regret does not always feel heavy. Sometimes it feels like a quiet ache, a soft voice that says, you could have. I do not say these things to make you feel sad. I say them because maybe you still have time. Maybe today is the day to call someone, to book the trip, to start the thing you have put off, even if it is small, even if it is messy, especially if it is messy. I am learning that it is never too late to begin again. Regret only wins when we stop moving. And you, my friend, are still here. That means your story is not finished yet. 4. When no one calls your name in the morning anymore. There is something about being needed that keeps you going. I did not realize how much I relied on that feeling until it was gone. When I was working, my days were built around responsibility. People called my name for decisions, for help, for support. I had somewhere to be, something to do, someone waiting on me. That was purpose. That was structure. That was life. Then retirement came. No more meetings, no more early alarms, no more rush hour. At first, I celebrated. I slept in. I had long breakfasts. I watched the birds a little longer from the porch. But as the weeks turned into months, I began to feel a shift. The silence, once peaceful, started to feel hollow. The days blurred together, and worst of all, no one seemed to need me anymore. It is not that people forgot me. My family still checked in. My neighbors waved from across the lawn. But the world no longer expected anything from me. That might sound like a relief, and in some ways it is. But when you have spent your entire life being useful, being productive, being the one people turn to, suddenly becoming invisible can shake you more than you expect. I used to hear my name called dozens of times a day, from my coworkers, from my wife, from friends. Now some mornings pass without anyone saying my name at all, and when that happens enough days in a row, you start to wonder, who am I without what I do? Retirement is not just about leaving work, it is about letting go of an identity. And if you are not careful, that void can fill with self-doubt. I caught myself wondering if I still mattered. I started questioning whether I was contributing anything at all. I felt like I had stepped out of the rhythm of the world and was just watching it spin from the sidelines. But here is what I am learning. Purpose does not have to look like it used to. It does not have to be tied to a paycheck or a title. Sometimes it looks like showing up for someone quietly, listening instead of fixing, volunteering at the local center, teaching your grandchild how to fish, even sharing your story with someone who might need to hear it. You still matter. Even if the phone does not ring as often, even if no one calls your name in the morning, your presence still carries weight, and your purpose, though it may have changed shape, is still very much alive. 5. Learning how to love again when it is just the two of you in the quiet. When you have been married for decades, you think you know everything there is to know about the person beside you. You have shared a bed, a home, bills, children, victories and disappointments. You have fought, made up, grown older together. But then retirement arrives and suddenly you are spending more time together than ever before, and it feels different. We had always built our lives around the kids, around work schedules, weekend errands, and the daily chaos of life. We were busy, always busy. And that busyness was, in a strange way, comforting. It gave our days shape and gave us space when we needed it. But when we both retired, that space disappeared. Suddenly, it was just us. Every hour, every day, in the same rooms, with no more distractions. At first, it felt like a vacation. We made coffee together in the mornings, sat on the porch, and talked about the weather. But over time, the silences grew longer. The conversations became shorter. It was not that we were upset with each other. It was that we were adjusting to something new, something no one had prepared us for. Retirement changes the rhythm of a relationship. There is no escape into work, no break from routine. You are face to face with each other's habits, flaws, and moods in a way that can either build closeness or stir tension. And the truth is, we had to learn how to love again. Love at this stage is not about grand gestures. It is about patience, about relearning how to share space, how to listen deeply, how to support without controlling. It is about letting go of the old roles we played, provider, nurturer, fixer, and becoming partners in a new season of life. We started taking walks again, like we used to when we were younger. We made a list of small things we wanted to do together. Nothing fancy. Just things like visiting a nearby lake, trying a new recipe, going to the old bookstore downtown. Little rituals helped us reconnect. But perhaps the most powerful thing was learning to sit in the quiet together, not filling it with words, not trying to fix anything, just being there. Present, side by side. That kind of love is soft, steady, and strong in a way that youth cannot understand. I lost her not long ago, and now those quiet mornings are quieter still. But I am grateful for that time. Retirement gave us the gift of rediscovering each other, of being present, of remembering why we chose each other in the first place. If you are in that season, if you and your partner are adjusting to the quiet, I hope you give each other grace. It is not always easy, but there is beauty in slowing down together, in learning how to love in silence, in stillness, in simplicity. 6. It is not just sadness. It is feeling like the world moved on without you. I used to think that sadness had to come with a reason, that you had to have something specific go wrong in order to feel low. That if you were healthy, had a roof over your head, had family nearby, then you had no right to feel down. So, when I started waking up some mornings with this heavy feeling in my chest, I brushed it off, told myself I was just tired, just getting older. I told myself it would pass, but it did not. Not right away. There were days when I just did not feel like doing anything. I was not in pain. I was not angry. I just felt blank. I would make a cup of coffee, sit in my favorite chair, and watch the light move across the floor. Hours would go by like that. No motivation, no energy, just a quiet emptiness I did not have words for. I would still smile when my kids called. I would still say I was doing fine, but inside, something was missing. Not just activity, not just structure, but meaning. That sense of being part of something, of being known. I felt like the world was moving on faster than I could follow, and I was being left behind, still here, still breathing, but slowly fading out of focus. I now know that what I was feeling was not just sadness. It was something deeper. Something many retirees experience but rarely talk about. A kind of emotional withdrawal, a slow detachment. Not because we want to disappear, but because we do not always know where we belong anymore. When we retire, we lose more than a job. We lose identity, routine, recognition. And sometimes we even lose connection. People get busy, schedules shift, friendships drift, and all of a sudden, your phone does not ring as much. The mailbox is quieter. The invitations slow down. And that silence can start to echo in your mind. Mental health is something my generation was taught to push aside. We grew up hearing things like, be strong, keep it to yourself, or just get over it. But strength does not mean silence. In fact, real strength is being able to say, I am not okay, and ask for help when you need it. I started opening up slowly. First to my doctor, then to an old friend. I told them what I had been feeling, and I cannot tell you how powerful it was to hear. Me too. I was not the only one. I never was. Some people need professional help. Others just need someone to talk to. But no matter where you are on that road, please hear me when I say this. You are not broken. You are not weak. What you are feeling is human. And it is more common than you think. There is nothing wrong with needing a little support. With admitting that retirement did not feel the way you expected. With saying, I miss being seen. Because we all do. We all need to feel like we still matter, like our voice still counts. If today feels heavy, if the world feels too quiet, I want you to know that this moment will pass. You are not alone in this. You are still here, still valuable, still capable of joy. Sometimes all it takes is one honest conversation to bring light back into the room. Let this be that conversation. I am here, and I see you. 7. If I could go back, here is how I would live differently. If I could sit down with my younger self, maybe the version of me at 50, still working full-time, always rushing, always planning, I think I would start by saying, slow down, look around, you are missing it. You see, I used to believe that life was a mountain to climb. Every year, a step closer to security, success, retirement. I measured everything in milestones, promotion, savings, mortgage paid, kids through school. I was proud of that, still am. But I now realize that while I was climbing, I forgot to look out at the view. If I could go back, I would make more room for stillness. I would not rush every meal. I would linger longer at the table, listening to the sound of my daughter laughing or my wife humming while she cleaned up. Those little things I thought I would always have, I now understand they were the whole point. I would also forgive faster. The older I get, the more I see how heavy old grudges can be. Some of the people I was mad at, they are not here anymore. And if I am honest, I do not even remember what the argument was about. I would tell my younger self, do not waste years being right. Choose peace. I would travel more. Not to faraway places necessarily. Sometimes just down the road. I would say yes to more simple adventures. A day at the lake, a weekend away, a last-minute visit to a friend. Life does not always give second chances. But it does give little invitations if we are paying attention. Most of all, I would stop waiting for perfect timing. I would not wait until I had more money, more time, fewer obligations. There is always something in the way. The truth is, we think we have more time than we do. We think we will get to it later, but later is not promised. Now I cannot go back. None of us can. But I can start today. And so can you. Maybe it is something small, like calling an old friend just to say hello, or planting that garden you have been thinking about for years, or sitting with your grandchild and really listening to their world, even if it does not make much sense to you. Retirement is not the end of your story. It is a new chapter, one that you get to write. No boss, no deadlines, no outside expectations. Just you and the time you have, and the people you love. If you have regrets, that is okay. It means you cared. But do not live in them. Use them. Let them be gentle reminders to live more fully today. To say the thing, do the thing. Be the person your younger self hoped you would become. You are not done yet. And that is the beautiful truth. I want to leave you with this. You have spent so much of your life taking care of others, showing up, working hard, being the steady one, the strong one, the one people could count on. Maybe now, for the first time in a long time, there is space. Space to ask yourself, what do I need? What do I want to do with the time I have left? That question is not selfish. It is sacred. You are not here just to exist quietly in the background. You are here to feel, to grow, to love, and to still become. Retirement is not the end of usefulness. It is not the end of joy. It is a softer season, yes, but one filled with its own kind of purpose, one you get to define. So here is what I encourage you to do. Reach out. Even if it feels awkward, even if it has been too long. Call the friend. Write the letter. Start the conversation. Get curious again. Try something you have never tried. Read a book you would not normally pick up. Go someplace nearby you have never visited. You do not need to be young to be alive. Let yourself feel the good, the hard, the confusing. Let it all come and go. You are not weak for having emotion. You are honest, and honesty brings healing. Most of all, do not let silence become your story. Your voice still matters. Your presence still matters. And someone, somewhere, needs exactly what you have lived through. You have earned this season. Live it with kindness to others, yes, but also to yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope something in these words made you feel seen, less alone, and more ready to keep writing your story. With courage, with heart, and with hope.